Hello, um, I'm just making a video to share a little bit of like what I've been experiencing the past kind of blends together, but this is definitely gonna be a bummer kind of video, but I feel like it needs to happen just because it's part of it, you know, but I'll try my best not to like cry too much. Honestly, like I don't even know how some of us like keep crying when you've cried so much already. But so Bamba was put to sleep through home euthanasia this past Monday, and it's Saturday now, and I really can't stop crying. I've had a couple of decent days, like a couple of days where I woke up and I wasn't so sad. And then like it hit me later, because grief is weird and it comes in these like really, like a wave that drags you under and you can't breathe. And your nerves feel weird and my hands are shaking, and then I can kind of distract myself sometimes for a little bit. Some whatever, like something on YouTube or just reading has been helpful. Just staring off in space sometimes is helpful. But basically I've kind of shared some of this on Patreon, so I won't go too much into it, but I've almost been having some digestive issues since September-ish this past year, the 2022. And he's been to the vet a bunch, and you know, they tried different stuff, different food changes, medicines, and he was scheduled for an examination that they were going to sedate him for, because whenever they checked him in his backside area, like his, you know, he would freak out, like scream and stuff. So they were like, okay, well, if it's not better in 2 weeks, call us, set up an appointment, and we'll sedate him and we'll do like a proper exam. And this was like his regular vet. That day they like did it, and he was awake during the sedation because it hurt him so bad. They had me rush him to an emergency vet, like a hospital vet. And that day they told me that, you know, he had most likely neoplasm that was causing the scar tissue, causing like a band, a tightening for him, and that the surgeries and procedures, of which there were two options kind of, but they weren't really options, had really poor prognosis, and they were both really painful procedures. And like his quality, even if they were successful, like the quality of life would be really, really horrible for Bamba. So that day they like recommended euthanasia, and they were kind of ready to do it that day, and that was December 19th. And I brought him home with medicine and laxatives, and just was a mess for like a whole week almost, or like a whole work week, until I finally kind of like, okay, like let's just ride this out. Let's just like stop obsessing over this. Let's just like see what Bamba tells me. And you know, over the last 3 weeks he was just getting worse. He was crying like every time he went to the bathroom. It got so bad that even just in the morning, because like he sleeps up here with me, like I carry him downstairs to go to the bathroom outside. He has like potty pads in the bathroom for him too if he needs it. But you know, every morning I carry him downstairs, and even me carrying him downstairs, he'd be shaking, like because he just had such anxiety and stress, because he knew it was going to be really painful for him. And the weekend before he was put down. He even was like going to the bathroom in like the weirdest places. Like he even went on my bed here because I think he was just looking for to like looking for a place he could go that like wouldn't hurt him because it was really, really painful. And anyway, the doctor like came to the house, like not his doctor but like a specialist for euthanasia came to the house. So they came like Monday morning. My ex-husband was here because that's like Bamba's dad, kind of, or Bamba's dad. And like I held him the whole time. And it was really peaceful for the most part. And I just got his ashes back yesterday. And I'm just having like a really, really, really hard time with it all. I've never had to put like an animal to sleep before. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, it was a really, really, really hard decision. And I have so much guilt. There's so much guilt. And constantly questioning myself if I did the right thing for him. If he was ready. But he was in a ton of pain. It wasn't just going to the bathroom. He was in pain all the time. But, and I knew it because he was constantly like kind of licking himself, like his tail or his like hips or just like that general area so much that he had like no hair back there anymore, even on like strong pain meds and stuff. And I've had Bamba since he was like, I don't know, however old you're allowed to have a dog. Like it was like 6 weeks or 8 weeks or I don't know, whatever like is right. Maybe it's 16 weeks. I don't even know. That can't be though. But like as long as they're able to like be like gone from their mom. I've had him since then. I got him right before my mom died. Right before I got pregnant and married, or married and pregnant, and had my son, and had like a really horrible falling out with like a best friend, and moved a bunch of times, and started my channel, and all the way up until, and so much in between, but up until my grandfather dying and him coming to Jersey with me this summer, and the burnout that I had really bad recently, and the issues, the nerve compression that I'm dealing with, which I just found out from the neurologist this past Thursday, what like the pain has been, or at least what they're able to see, that there are compressed nerves that are like coming from my spine, and that's why like I'm getting this pain in my arms and stuff. But just like all of that like love that he gave me, I don't know, I just feel so guilty. And I think I have this like perspective, I guess, where I can understand it. Like he was just getting worse, like every day was getting worse for him. He would yipe even just from moving. Like it got to the point where he would just be sitting and kind of move and then be like, ah, and like yipe. So I know he was like really hurting. And I can think about that and remember why I made the decision as hard as it was. Because I didn't want him to hurt anymore or be scared. Such a beautiful dog. Like his soul and his looks. But even with that perspective, I can't help but keep blaming myself. Like, I don't know. I think I'm just so devastated. And it's almost like my brain is trying to find something to be mad at, or like something to blame, and I can only come up with myself. Even though I'm like, logically, I know that that's not really fair for me, and I know that that's not true. Like, I can't help my thoughts from going there when I'm crying and I'm missing it. And I'm just feeling so incredibly guilty. Sorry. So, I'm just taking as much time as I need to like get past this like really intense grieving part. But I've never felt this much grief like in my life, and I know it's maybe crazy to some people because I don't know if you never had that like real soul bond pet kind of experience. But he was really like my first baby, and there for me through so much, and he was so smart, and just felt like we had like such an amazing connection. And it's not just that he's gone, it's not just the guilt, and it's not just the torture of like knowing that this kind of needed to happen, and that it was going to be me that had to make the decision when it was going to happen. And this constant back and forth, like even beyond all that torture, it's what I didn't prepare for or didn't realize was going to happen was how like everything is different now. Like my routine and like a lot of different stuff. Like this is like, I knew it was like a new phase for him, like his journey or whatever, but I didn't realize like it was gonna be one for me too, if that makes sense. Like, and I think that's one of the things of grief that I didn't really understand before, was that it's not just that they're gone or just that you're hurting or sad or angry or whatever it is. It's also that like you have a completely different life now. If someone was such a big part of your life, and Bamba was like such a big part of my life, like when I go out and I don't have to pack his bag and pack his food, I'm just like, it's just so weird. Or when I went to the neurologist, it's not super far from me, but it's not super close, and there's a lot of traffic in the area. I could take the long way home and not feel like I had to rush home. And I'm not saying that like, oh, I could take the long way home, like, what a perk. But it was just a weird feeling. Like I was like, I don't have any reason to go home. Like there's not a big reason. And if you're wondering, well, what about your son? My son's with his dad this week. So he's been with his dad like this whole week. We have 50-50, so I'll get him tomorrow. So that will be different. I'll have him to distract me and to love on. But this whole week, that first week Papa's been gone, is just, it's been really lonely, and I'm just strained. Like the doorbell rings and he doesn't bark, or I don't have to give him medicine or make sure he's eating or whatever. And I'm saying those things as if I'm like complaining, but I don't mean it that way. I mean, I loved taking care of him. really loved taking care of him, no matter what he needed. So I was hoping that I could distract myself with work, not this week but soon. So I hope that that's coming, but right now I can barely, like, the only thing I can do is like go for a walk. I've been going for like long, like 3-hour walks, just sitting by the beach reading. I'm reading Between Life and Death by Dolores Cannon. Right after Bamba passed and they took him away, like took his body and stuff, I was in the kitchen, and my kitchen is kind of like closed off from the rest of the house. It's not like, it's, you know, it's like one of those annoying kitchens that like, if it's a totally different room, like you're not connected to anything when you're in the kitchen. And I heard this like kind of sound, like I would call it Bomba's like huff and puff, when he just like kind of has some energy bursts and he just kind of like scratches around on the rug and like rolls around. And I like heard it, it came out, and I was like looking and just listening. And then I went back in the kitchen and I heard like this little like noise that he would make at me. I don't feel like Bomba's mad at me. Like, he's too loving to be mad. Like, I don't think pets get mad at us, so I don't have guilt like that he hates me or something. But I just have guilt, like, I don't know, like, because I just have to blame someone. It just keeps like being self-directed. So yeah, I'm just like trying to take walks a lot, and I think when I first found out that Mama was like not gonna, didn't have that long really. Excuse me. I was wait, where was it going with that? Sorry. What the frick was I going with that? Oh, yeah, sorry. But when I first found out, I was just like, why? Like, why Mama? Like, it's been such a hard, like, few months, like, since June for me. Like, why Mama? Like, Mama. Fucking Mama. Like, he's my little, like, super thing that I could rely on, you know? I didn't realize how much I relied on him, but, and I just couldn't figure it out. I was just like, why? Why Mama? I started listening to different, like, spiritual teachers and stuff, trying to figure it out. And even ones that I really love, I didn't like what they said. Excuse me. Like, some I heard say, oh, well, the pet mirrors what's going on with the person, so whatever illness you have, like, they're gonna have it. But like, I don't have what Mama has, and I don't think there's any emotional, like, I can't connect the dots on that. Like, it didn't resonate with me. But now that he's like gone, I get it more. And it kind of is almost like the weed thing, like why I can't smoke weed anymore. It's like I needed, I'm not saying Bomba's dead because of me, because I needed this, but in terms of like why, or like what does this mean in like at least my world life path plan kind of thing, you know, because like that's all I can most connect with. Who am I to say what Bomba's life journey is, right? But like, oh my god, it just felt so fucking ugly like the past fucking week too. Sorry for my language, but crying just, ugh, just can't stand it. Anyway, I'm realizing that it's like I have to change, you know, like I can't have my crutches anymore. And this lesson that Bomba's teaching me, I'm sure there's so many of them that I could think about, but there's specifically one that's like having to be on my own a little more, or like not like be on my own, but like have nothing to like prevent me from like connecting out as well. Like, for example, weed, if, you know, I wouldn't say I was abusing it at all, but just in general, like, it made me a little more antisocial than I already am. I'm a weird, I don't know. I'm hard to, like, it's hard for me to explain myself, because I love being around people, and I love vibing, and I love, like, talking and stuff. But then at the same time, I'm, like, really socially, like, anxious and that, and then I just want to be home. Like, so I can kind of play in, like, both areas, but since moving to Florida, I felt, like, way more socially awkward than I even felt in New York and Jersey and stuff. And I think, you know, when like there was a pandemic, there was all like, you know, whatever, all these reasons to stay home. And, you know, I could just smoke weed and stay home. Or like go to the grocery store, come home, smoke some weed, hang out, write some stuff down, vibe out, just be like in my own world, you know? And that's cool, that's fine. But also, I can't do that anymore. Like, it's not, my path is not leading me to more of that. It seems like my path is leading me to explore beyond those things. And Bamba was like a reason to be home. It was like a reason to, you know, stay close. It was like a reason to just lay down and vibe out and edit a little while he stayed with me or whatever. So, I don't know, like, I'm not putting this into words, right? But there's something in the, like, why Bamba for me? Like, why now? Why Bamba? There's some kind of, like, major reconciliation or books closing or something on these comforts that were really, that I guess was really dependent on or something. You know, I'm not trying to say we shouldn't be dependent on our lovey animals or people or whatever. I don't mean that at all, but I'm just trying to self-soothe maybe a little. Sorry, I keep sniffing. I know it's so gross. But anyway, I've never felt grief like this before. I've never felt loss like this before. It's like a icy, breathless pain. I can't talk about him without crying, like, at all. Like, I can't even bring him up at all without crying. Even little stuff. And I really miss taking care of him. And like giving him treats and buying his, hunting down his special. There was times I would go to like 3 different stores just to find the treats that he really likes. You know? Or if I couldn't find them, I'd make him like a special thing. Like, oh, I couldn't find the Buddy with toy. I'll go out tomorrow. Maybe they're restocked. Or you know what? I'll order them online. They're gonna take a while, but here, I'll make you this in the meantime. When I got Bamba, I was working for this investigative company. I was a director, I think, by then, of the compliance division, and I wanted a baby, but I wanted a pet so bad, and I was living with my ex-husband at the time before we were married, and I was just like send him like pictures of like Pac-Man frogs, and then it was like hamsters or rats or something like that. And finally I remembered why I wanted a Pomeranian so bad, because I was at the Staten Island ferry. I was sitting outside waiting for the boat to come. I was on the Staten Island side, and there was just a lady. There was like a little like orange colored palm, not like a, like more like an auburn orange, like a true fox color, not that sable like lighter color, like a really deep mahogany, almost like orangey, like really beautiful colored palm, and their owner, and the palm was just like sitting and like watching, and they're both facing the same direction, and some like noisy people went by, and the owner like looked down at the palm and was like, "You okay?" And then just like looked up at her, and she was like, "Do you want to get in?" And she put a bag down, and it just looked like the owner and the palm had like this like crazy like communication thing going on, and I was like, oh my gosh, like that's the kind of dog that I want. Like that's the dog I want. So I like went online, started looking at like places that you could get palms, and was like sending them to Greg, like, please, 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 like, please, can we get one, please, can we get one, please, 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 please. And finally he caved. And he agreed. And he actually was the one that picked out Bamba from like Bamba's picture. And I didn't care at all. I was just like, whatever. And Bamba's a blue merle. That's what made him look so special. He was like so I can't even talk. Like just so majestic looking, like otherworldly. And his name was Romeo when we first got him. Anyway, he came on an airplane. I had to pick him up at Newark Airport, and Greg was like out of town for like a month or something because he used to DJ and tour and stuff. And my brother came with me, and we picked up Bamba from the airport, and I was so nervous because I've never had a dog before. And I was like, oh, like I hope he likes me. I hope, like, what if he doesn't like me? And I had to bring all these supplies because like little dogs get like hypoglycemic, something like that, like low blood sugar. So I had this like little tube. It wasn't honey, but it was like a honey for dogs, like a sugar for dogs to like get their blood sugar in case they were lethargic looking or something. And I remember going into the area where you pick up your pet, because it's kind of at Newark, it's like an in-between spot, like it was kind of hard to find. And just going in and waiting, like getting the alert that he landed and waiting, and then seeing all these like dog carriers come out, you know, like different sizes and stuff. And then they went and brought Bamba's carrier, and it was so tiny. It was just like it was fine for him because he was just so itty bitty, but it was just like a little tiny one, like this big probably. And he was so cute. And I just saw his little face, and he looked like a little hedgehog. Sorry. I just miss him so much. Okay, sorry. And I brought him to the car. I opened this little cage just to make sure he was okay. Like, I don't know. I probably could have waited. And this little ball of fluff, like, jumped down. It was like, the doors were shut. We were in the car. I wasn't going to let him, like, actually get out, but just let him on the seat in the back. And he just jumped down. He was, like, jumping at me. And it was so freaking cute. And we put him back in, got home, and he was just this little adorable fluff. And he was a Gemini, and he really had that kind of personality that like you had to earn it with Bamba. Like he didn't just like everybody. He wasn't mean to people, but he didn't like trust people right away. You had to like earn his trust. It was one of the things that I love so much about him. That he was like like a gentleman that way, you know, like, you know, you had to really work for it. But then once you were in, like, he was just, like, so in love with you. So, I had, like, this perfect little dog set up for him and everything. And little by little, he, like, you know, would, like, let me pet him more. And I remember him just, like, finally we had, like, a breakthrough. He was, like, laying in his little puppy area. And I was just petting his belly for the first time, and he just was like laying there like looking at me, but like, ah, okay, you know, and it was just like really sweet memory. I mean, there's so many good memories. I'm just like so broken hearted. And I really don't like, I'm afraid to post something like this because I really don't want like sympathy. It's not like I'm not trying to make people feel bad for me. I just wanted to share where I'm at right now, and it's probably obvious, I know I don't have to say it, but like why I'm not making other content at the moment, because I really have to like let this like move through me, and I know it could take a really long time. I'm not saying I can't like not work forever, but I really just want to give myself like 2 weeks at least to like really, you know, like focus in and also start building like my new life, my new routines and stuff like that, you know, like, it's gonna take a long time to get used to it, but, you know, that's life, so, but, I really just wish the guilt would go away. Like, the grief is one thing, like, the grief is natural, but the guilt just feels really like I'm hurting myself, and I don't feel like I need to feel guilty, but I can't help it. Like, I really am trying to let it go. I've got, like, freaking singing bowls and shit out, and, like, I'm trying to meditate with crystals. I'm trying to, like, let my guilt go and just remind myself that, like, it was really a lose-lose kind of situation. And I really did, you know, try to be selfless in all of the considerations. And I just really thought I had more time with him. Pop was gonna live to like 15, 18. So I thought I had like so much time I didn't even think about it. And then I feel like I didn't appreciate him enough, maybe. Or I should have done more fun stuff. He was like a homebody. Papa was a homebody. Like, he liked to go visit people. He liked to go in the car, but he liked to, like, okay, let's go home. And it's so hot here. We never, like, would go to the beach. He was not a beach dog. Like, he was not happy at the beach. He liked being home. He liked just snuggling and kind of patrolling and barking at any bug that got in the house, or barking at doorbells or other dogs outside. You know, like, that's what he was on duty all the time, so he just really wanted to be home a lot. But every time I take a walk, I'm just like, why didn't I bring Bamba for more long walks? But then I know, because it's freaking 90-something degrees out, and this dog's like, like, not happy. So, anyway, my lessons right now are just about, like I said, just having this experience, I guess, is part of it. But maybe on how I can let go of guilt is maybe a part of it. But really, it's something about needing a new phase in life and needing to be kind of less attached to the house, or less afraid to go out, or like, put myself out there more, because there are paths you cross, you know, you bump into people, you make friends maybe, or, you know, share some kind of experience or moment, or you just have your own experience out on the path more, you know, like the Sagittarius stuff or whatever, the journey, the alchemist. So anyway, yeah, so sorry this is a bummer. I miss you so much, Mama. So hard. Like, this was the hardest thing. I can't believe it. And it happened so fast. It was just 3 weeks of finding out. I mean, it was happening. His issues were happening for months, but maybe I knew in the back of my mind, but I didn't want to believe it. But regardless, even saying that, it wasn't like I wasn't taking him to the vet. Like, homeboy went to the vet so freaking much. So it wasn't like I wasn't trying to get him help. But it was just until that last exam when they were like, okay, like, you gotta take him to the emergency room because he's still... And then the doctor telling me, I don't know. So anyway, I'm just gonna try to keep letting myself feel, as much as it feels so terrible. There is some beauty in it, I'm sure, and, you know, I have a few moments once in a while where I could just kind of focus on him and see him happy and stuff, and I could just do my best to send, like, a pure love to him, not a sad love. But I think that I have to really, like, heal, or whatever it is, process for me to be able to, like, have a new relationship with him, because I don't think that being in like really hardcore grief, you know, is like how you form the best relationships with people on the other side, you know. It's gotta be hard for them. Also, time moves so much differently over there, and you know, whatever, that's a whole other thing. But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Sorry, this is a fucking bummer. Sorry for my language. I'm physically okay. I've been eating better, definitely, and even when I'm really sad, you know, I'll like make myself stuff, so it's not affecting my health. It's affecting my nerves. Like, I notice my hands are like shaking a lot, and sometimes I'm like, oh, you know, because it hurts so bad. But it's not impeding on my self-care. Like, I'm still really, that's like the one thing that's kind of helping me, like cleaning my house, going for long walks. I thought I was going to be on my bike a lot, but the walks feel better, so I'm just doing that. Yeah, so self-care wise, I'm doing actually pretty good. It doesn't feel good to just like lay in bed all day or anything, so that's good, because otherwise I probably would. And it would just set me back the other way, and that's another reason why I know that that's part of the lesson. It's like, I'm not like drawn to just like, not that I'm not moping, I am moping a bit, but I mean, I'm not drawn to just mope and just sit around and cry. Like, I feel like I need to like get outside and get some fresh air and walk by these really beautiful places and beautiful houses that are in the town that I live in, and walk over the bridge and walk to the ocean and read at the ocean and stuff. So I'm definitely doing that, but I really hope that I feel better, at least a little better, in the next few days. Maybe when Howell gets back and stuff, and I could, like, I don't know, I don't want to lean on him too much, but you know what I mean, like a nice sort of distraction or whatever. Not distraction, I'm sorry, I can't even talk at this point. But I just want to honor for just a minute before I say goodbye all of your loved pets and experiences. I've never lost an animal this way before, like, not one I've had for so long, not one that was truly mine, that I took care of. My mom had animals, you know, that kind of stuff. But I've never had, like, a dog I had for almost 12 years, 11 and a half years, that I was literally, like, glued to. I never left him. I went to Costa Rica for 2 weeks once. I went to visit my mom right before she died. I went to Orlando for a couple of days. Like, I never left him, you know. We were always together. I just keep seeing his cute little face. And I just hope I did the right thing. Alright, have a great day. Try not to be so much of this next time I see you. Okay.